We are here, everybody. Happy Tuesday morning. Happy day two of free agency. We're going to get right to it, man. There's a lot to talk about, there's a lot of news. Let me make sure everything is good to go on YouTube. We're here on YouTube and on X or Twitter, whatever you like to call it. Um, I'm grinding, y'all. It's like we're here. 6 a.m. at the Pacific Coast, 9 a.m. Eastern. We're going to get to some news. Let me pull up. But man, what a day by the Carolina Panthers yesterday. What an absolute beast of the day if you're the Panthers. It's just an absolute crazy day. Getting Devin Lloyd, getting Phillips, the best edge out in the market. It was interesting. Albert Breer. I don't know if y'all saw the Albert Breer stuff, but he said that Phillips was the number one guy for the Panthers. He was the number one guy on the Panthers board, and they got their guy. The Carolina Panthers got their guy. So, oh man. Okay, let me start sharing here and then we'll get started. Present, share screen. All right, here we go. But yeah, I also had a poll that I had up if y'all want to answer, and the poll essentially said, who are you most excited to have right now? Are you most excited to have Phillips, or are you most excited to have Lloyd? So if y'all wanna get to that, you're more than welcome to. But yeah, I don't know how y'all feel. I'm still a little floored. Also, Titans, Wan'Dale Robinson, 4-year, $70 million contract. Let me see if I can pull up. Let me see if I can pull this up. Sorry, y'all. It's a little early out here in LA, so I'm still trying to wake up. I need a little bit of that caffeine. All right, so share this tab instead. Linderbaum to the Raiders, and we're talking about the impact. Then the biggest deal done in free agency on Monday was the Raiders poaching three-time Pro Bowl center Tyler Linderbaum from the Ravens on a 3-year, $81 million that he'll sign on Wednesday. It makes Linderbaum on a year-per basis the highest paid lineman in the NFL and the highest paid center ever by a massive margin. His average of $27 million is a 50% markup on Chiefs center Creed Humphreys, $18 million per year. If it's rare, if not unprecedented, that you see this price. The reason I'm kind of okay with this happening is because they were so bad. I mean, the Raiders' offensive line was terrible. What else? Colts wide receiver decisions, the Colts signing of Alex Pierce and subsequent dumping of Michael Pittman is indeed a risk. And I like Pierce as a player and can understand the price Indianapolis had to pay. Pittman had 80 or more catches in 4 of the past 5 seasons and has been, for a number of quarterbacks, the most consistent, reliable weapon on Indy's defense. Kenneth Walker to the Chiefs. I don't know how many of y'all play fantasy football, but like Kenneth Walker to the Chiefs is going to be insane. Insane. The Titans, did y'all see how much money the Titans spent? Like, they spent a lot of money yesterday, and they have the money to spend. The Titans follow a blueprint that worked for the Commanders. Let's see if they get to here we go. This is interesting. For what it's worth, the Colts, should they get Daniel Jones back in the field, could provide the same sort of opportunity. The biggest contract of the day actually flew a little under the radar. Here we go. That was the 4-year, $120 million agreement between the Panthers and edge rusher Jalen Phillips. The Panthers, by the way, if you're just joining us, welcome. We grab your coffee. We're talking about Albert Breer's latest Intel article. So come on in, hop on in, grab your coffee. The Panthers lurked over the weekend as a factor on the edge rusher market. I'd actually heard them connected by other teams to Odafe Owe. But what only those in the organization knew is that the team's brass, Morgan, Brand Tellis, and Coach Canales viewed Phillips as the clear best player on the market, regardless of position. I mean, that's important. So essentially, what we're hearing here is that the Panthers' number one guy, this is by Albert Breer, insider, used to work for NFL Network, now works for Sports Illustrated. What only those in the organization knew is that the clear team's brass, Morgan, Tillis, and Canales viewed Phillips.
Look closely, and you'll.
So they took a swing with $80 million fully guaranteed on a guy who does have significant injury history for a 26-year-old. But if he hits, this could be a real home run and one that could impact Carolina's own young edge guys and Nick Scorton in particular. I mean, yeah, that's pretty interesting. I guess this came out yesterday because it says one guy I'm watching now is Devin Lloyd. I heard he was shooting for $20 million. $20 million per year over the weekend. I think that's why it took so long to get him signed, right? Because people were looking for these huge contracts, and he was not about to get a ginormous contract. Man, that's crazy. Quay fell short. Another top name in the market, Quay Walker, fell short of even $15 million per year in his agreement. So it makes Lloyd interesting. Man, that's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, it looks like they were hoping for like $51 million. I think what's going to be really interesting is Trey Hendrickson now is the best guy still on the board. But if you look at what, let's see what GetUp was saying, because Adam Schefter was talking about this with, all right, here we go. This is him talking about Trey Hendrickson.
I mentioned it. The shoe to drop is Trey Hendrickson. What is the latest we're hearing on him?
Well, here's the situation, Greeny. He's been in contact with a number of teams right now. The issue, I think, is this. You see the Houston Texans go out and give Danielle Hunter a $40 million a year extension. You see yesterday the Carolina Panthers shock the NFL and give Jalen Phillips $30 million a year. Trey Hendrickson sees himself in the company of those kinds of players. And so you would think that there would be a corresponding contract in that vicinity. But if there's not a team out there that's willing to give you $40 or $30 million, sometimes it takes a player a little bit of time to understand how the market works like that and to accept that just because Danielle Hunter might get 40, you might not get 40. Just because Jalen Phillips gets 30 doesn't mean you get 30. And so right now he's talking to a bunch of teams, but nobody has met his price just yet. And he's a very strong-minded, prideful person. He wants to get his price. And until he feels like he does, he's not willing to compromise.
Yeah, the thing about Hendrickson to me is that he is the only thing that's working against him is his age, right? Like he's not young. And the reason Phillips was such a good deal for the Panthers is because of his youth. Like he was young. It just made sense to make that deal if you're the Panthers because of his youth. So it is interesting that Albert Breer said that Owe was one of the other guys they were looking out for. But yeah, that's pretty interesting. That's pretty interesting. Oh, okay, here we go. Can y'all see this? Let me make sure y'all can see this. Okay, so Evan Sideri is seeking over $30 million per year, but no team showing interest is willing to offer that figure per Adam Schefter. Hendrickson will not be able to fetch the same annual value the Panthers provided Jaden Phillips. Yeah. I think for Phillips, he's going to have to figure out, like, is he willing to take $25 million a year? Yeah, that's what's interesting.
We just really got to weigh that with. There'll be a linebacker there we like. There'll be an edge that we really like there too. So we just really got to weigh that with free agency and just kind of see like how it goes in free agency. And then, I think you always adjust your plan based off, what you did in free agency. But that's not to say that we wouldn't double dip at a certain position, whether edge or linebacker or both.
Knowing that you invested, though, in outside linebacker this past year, is that put middle linebacker at all over that as far as priorities right now?
No, I don't think so. I think, again, it's just about getting the best players. And, if we feel like the best player is another edge rusher, I don't think you can ever have too many edge guys. So that's kind of the stance we're taking right now.
Dan, you've been so measured in the last 2 years in terms.
I can tell that anytime David Newton asks a question, Dan Morgan is like, okay. It's like he's been trained by PR, like, don't say something stupid, essentially. I don't know. Every time, maybe that's just me, but every time David Newton opens his mouth, I'm like, what a ridiculousness is going to come out of his mouth today.
Of this rebuild, as you get closer to where you want to be, how do you stay patient and sort of maintain that approach?
Yeah, I mean, we're aligned in the building. We have a plan. We're going to stick to that plan. We're going to stay disciplined. That doesn't mean we're not going to be aggressive and take swings, but, we're going to be smart. We're going to be calculated in what we do in our approach. I think between myself and Brand and Coach Canales, we're always talking about the roster and ways to get better. And, we do have to stay smart and disciplined, but again, that doesn't mean we're not going to be aggressive.
When you say be aggressive, are you meaning in free agency or overall?
Yeah, I think, free agency, draft, like we did last year, we traded up in the draft when we felt like a player could help us out. And in free agency, same thing. I think you've seen in my 3 years that, free agency, we're going to get the best players. We're going to try to get the best players and be aggressive when we see fit.
That's my GM, man. That is my GM.
The draft Fernando Mendoza #1. They added draft picks, obviously, in the trade of Max Crosby as well. Looks like they're setting things up a little bit for Mendoza pretty nicely to get started.
It's the best day the Raiders could have had for their potential young quarterback. I think the #1 thing you can do for a young quarterback to help him, give him a defense.
Y'all have heard my thoughts on Dan Orlovsky. I think sometimes he's becoming essentially the Stephen A. Smith of First Take, and it's a little annoying to me, but I do think he's right here. I think he's absolutely right that the Raiders had a phenomenal day, and part of that is paying up for Linderbaum. You had to pay up for a guy like Linderbaum to help your player up. That's just the reality of it.
Make him feel that he doesn't have to score 30 points a game and a touchdown every pass play. The addition to those defensive picks, big deal. And then the second thing is you can keep them clean. And Linderbaum's going to be a big part of that. Linderbaum's very good in the run game, in their zone run game. Clint Kubiak getting out on the edges and being athletic. He's also really strong in protection. Also, remember, Ashton Genty. Genty's their first-round pick last year. He had 112 runs that were up the middle of their offensive line. 50% of those were hit at or behind the line of scrimmage. So if they...
Oh, Dan's been doing his homework. Way to go, Dan. Yeah, I mean, he's right about that, though. That offensive line was absolutely trash. I mean, that offensive line was hot garbage last year. And this is why somebody like Brett Coleman, who I really like, y'all should go follow Brett on YouTube. But like his rule, if you draft a running back in the first round, is you have to have a competent offensive line. You just have to. That's just how that works.
You can just get Genty to run the football a little bit better. That's also going to be something super impactful for Mendoza.
I'm told Shefty wants to jump in here.
Greeny,
Yeah, Peter, go.
Oh, I was going to get in.
Yeah, go. Go
I
ahead.
was gonna say,
Go.
There's the crappy team tax. You know, like everyone's saying, oh, they overpaid. They're a crappy team. You have to overpay sometimes to get people to come to a crappy.
I mean, I think that's honestly very, very, that's exactly what the Panthers are dealing with too, right? Like, I mean, the Panthers are out of, I would say, crappy team, like the crappy team. They're getting out of that, but they had to overpay for Robert Hunt. They had to overpay for Damian Lewis. They had to now overpay a little bit for Jaden Phillips. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with a little bit of an overpay. I think the Raiders are in the same situation the Panthers were 2 years ago. Remember when Nate Morgan came 2 years ago? He had to fix the whole cap situation.
Team. Now they're not going to be a crappy team.
Sorry, Peter.
You look at, look at the Patriots last year.
We don't use the word overpaid. Like no player is ever overpaid. When Dominique Foxworth is on the Get Up program, we find another word other than overpaid because none of these guys are overpaid. I'm sorry.
You have any problem with crappy team?
That's funny. Okay, so Jonathan Jones from CBS, he used to be with the Panthers. He's really, really good. He says teams that weren't in on Trey make it in on him as time goes on, and his price aligns more with where the market views. And then the four-man rush said Morgan about to get in on Hendrickson on a one-year prove-it deal. That would be insane. That would be insane. I don't think it's going to happen because I think Carolina is not interested in getting a guy like that. But yeah, let's look at some Devin Lloyd. How
Up and downfield.
Browning over the middle, intercepted. Devin Lloyd, the linebacker.
Up and downfield. He's going to float it from McCaffrey. Loose ball. Picked off by Devin Lloyd. Another Jackson. Purdy floats it and throws an interception to Devin Lloyd. That's a two-pick game.
On second down. Picked off. Lloyd again. Devin Lloyd. Rolling. Down the sideline. One man to beat. Lloyd. Pick six.
Fake it. And it's intercepted by Lloyd. Devin Lloyd weaving. Lloyd trying to cut.
3-point game. Brissett flushed out of the pocket. Just trying to get back to the line of scrimmage, and that a potential late hit.
Browning over the middle, intercepted. Devin Lloyd, the linebacker.
Up and downfield. He's going to float it from McCaffrey. Loose ball.
Love that guy. The other free agent that's still out there that people need to figure out what's going to happen is you got to figure out what's going to happen with Kyler Murray. Everybody is saying that Kyler is going to potentially go to Minnesota, like find a place to go. I think that it would make sense if I think Minnesota is the best spot for him, essentially, is what I'm saying. I think the Minnesota Vikings are probably the best spot, but we're going to have to see what happens, man. We're going to have to see what happens.
Kyler is going to be the starting quarterback for the Vikings. We can figure out, look at all this and sit there and say, he's going to be the next guy. If you're Kyler Murray and you're going to get released and you're looking at the landscape, where else would you want to go that even sniffs Minnesota? Don't want to go to Pittsburgh, don't want to go to the Jets, don't want to go to Cleveland, not going to go to Atlanta. So at the places that are options in Miami, Minnesota is by far the best option. And then if you're Minnesota, who sniffs Kyler? Malik Willis, because he's in division, is not going to go there, okay? He's not going to sign a free agency. So Geno Smith, I love Geno, but you'd much rather have Kyler. Kirk Cousins, got a lot of love and respect for Kirk. You'd much rather have Kyler Murray. So we don't have to overthink this. Kyler Murray is going to be the starting quarterback for the Vikings this season, unless J.J. McCarthy unseats him. Kyler is going to be the starting quarterback for the Vikings.
I mean, yeah, if you're Kyler and you're thinking about like where you're going to end up, I think that's probably going to be the best place for you, right? Like that's probably going to be the best place for you. I saw Josh Klein tweeting about this, and I thought it was really, really good. Look at look at look at what Fitterer did when he was here. Look at how bad this is from Fitterer. You've got I mean, these are atrocious names. I want everybody to remember this is what Fitterer did when he was here. Jonathan Mingo, DJ Johnson, Zavala, and Jamie Robinson. Matt Corral. Does everybody remember that? Matt Corral. I do feel that he was going through it with his family. Like that did kind of suck. Brandon Smith. Brandon Smith had this. Remember, everybody was enamored with his RAS score. Everybody's like, look at his score. It's such a high score. Matt Corral, Brandon Smith, Amari Barno, Cade Mays, and Kalen Barnes. That's insane. That's insane. Oh, yeah. For those wondering, because one of the concerns that I think people have had is like, how are the Panthers going to be able to pay these guys as time goes on? And my take this whole time has been, don't worry about that. Like, don't worry because I think the draft is going to be able to supplement a lot of these free agent signings. The good teams, whether you think about the Eagles, whether you think about the Ravens, whether you think about the Rams, even though the Rams have a very different draft strategy, the Rams say, forget those picks. Like, we're just going to trade out if we can get more value for a good player. But I think what they do consistently is they draft well. Byron Young, all these guys on that defensive line, they got these guys in the draft. So I think as they continue to make progress, I mean, here's my take on the defensive line stuff with the Panthers. I think the sweet spot for defensive line this year is actually in the second and third round. I would not like after Bain, and I guess you could put Messidor in there too. Like there is a huge drop off. There is a huge drop off after Bain. So like I would be fine to kind of not like after Bain. I mean, I guess we could have a conversation about Messidor, but I'm fine without getting Messidor, and I'm fine without getting after we're not getting Grease and we're not getting Bain. So after that, to me, Zion Young, Malachi Lawrence from UCF. Like I really like Malachi Lawrence from UCF. I think Malachi Lawrence is going to be really. So I would just rather kind of get some day two edge rushers, but who knows? Like we'll have to see what happens. Super Bowl. This stat about Kenneth Walker and how good he's been is going around. Kenneth Walker forced a missed tackle rate on 30.2% of his touches in 2025, the third highest in the NFL. Walker has ranked inside top 12 in missed tackles force rate in every season. The Chiefs, I mean, I think the Chiefs got a really, really good player. In 2025, Trevin Wallace had an average depth of tackle of 8.4 yards. That's by far the worst single season ADOT among qualifying linebackers since PFF started recording the stat in 2000. Ugh, that's not good. That's not a stat you want to get excited about. He also ranked last in 2024 as well. They absolutely need to add another linebacker to start next to Lloyd. I think Wallace is a developmental guy, but yeah. I mean, I still think he has gotten better. I know that Panthers fans don't want to see it, but yeah. My boy Edgar is awake. Edgar is also from Southern California, so he's also up at 6:30 a.m. I don't know what Edgar does for work, but he's always like up pretty early, tweeting about stuff. So the Panthers did an excellent job yesterday getting the best young players at outside linebacker. I mean, at edge and linebacker, but still got work to do. They still don't have an LT and a C or even a backup OT. This is the priority in FA1 for me, even if they can get them in the draft. My take on what Dan Morgan is going to do is I don't actually think Dan is going to I really don't think Dan Morgan is going to draft for need. Everybody is convinced that he's like, oh, Dan's gonna get like a tackle or Dan's gonna get. I think Dan wants the best players, and he said it. Like, if the best players are like edge players, then he's gonna get an edge. If the best player is a tackle, he's gonna get a tackle. If all of the linebackers are going in round 1 or round 2, and it's a very deep linebacker class, but if all of them are going, he's not going to like reach for a linebacker. So like, to me, I think we're gonna have to be careful with just assuming that he's gonna get a specific kind of guy. All right, let's see what Bina's saying.
Approach this offseason, really interesting. Trading for Pittman, giving him a contract, paying Dean. The suggestion here is that the Steelers expect to be a playoff team.
Yes.
Very good, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Would you think anything different?
And by all accounts, they're bringing back Aaron Rodgers. So I guess it's hard for me not to look at all of these moves through that lens. Like, you're running it back a quarterback. It's not likely he's going to be better than what we saw last year. I guess having a second receiver will help. And I do think Pittman pairs nicely with Rodgers, but is that a good bet? As we watch the Ravens do this big deal for Crosby and all of it, do we think the Steelers are self-aware? Let me put it that way, in some of these moves in conjunction with each other.
I don't think so. I mean, and this has been my frustration with them for a while now, is that this felt like, and let's leave the McCarthy thing aside, even if you wanted to go that direction with the coaching staff, I think that this was a chance for them to kind of soft reset a little bit when it came to the age of the roster and how the expectations for the roster in the short term. Because this is a team that I think there is like a underlying current of young talent. This is a young roster if you wanted to get it young. They have a ton of draft capital this year. And so the fact that we're chasing guys who are going to be receivers and corners in their age 29 season as the big investments that you're making with a 48-year-old quarterback or whatever he is, it just, I don't really understand like how that's all supposed to come together cohesively.
Steelers are going to stay bad. That's my take. I mean, I just think the Steelers had a chance to do something really good, which is to essentially retool. The Steelers had a chance to potentially, they just refused to have a full rebuild because that owner is like, we're going to make the playoffs every year. And look, coming from like a Panthers perspective, I kind of, as an outsider, I kind of respect it. I'm like, okay, you want to be good, but also it's just not working anymore. You've got to do something. You've got to do something a little different. Yeah. Jared Feinberg, who y'all should follow because he's really, really good. He said Scott Fitter will pay for the crimes he's done to this organization. That's so true, man. That's so true. He was so bad for so long. Dan was his right-hand man the whole time. Man, that's so true. The decision is not the decision of the many. At the end of the day, Scott Fitterer he was a decision maker. Panthers culture said, I still want Anthony Hill besides Devin Lloyd. I want Peter Woods besides Derek Brown. I'm going to be honest, y'all. I'm not a big Peter Woods guy. And I root for Clemson. I like Clemson. I'm not a big Peter Woods guy. I think Peter Woods is a day 2 guy, potentially even day 3. I think what we saw his last year at Clemson, and people are going to say, I know what people are going to say. He wasn't aligned the right way. He could have been better in A, B, C, or D. I don't care. I do not want to spend a first round pick on Lloyd. I'm saying the same way I feel similarly about Banks too. Like, I just don't. I think they're huge. To me, there are huge concerns with both of those. Like, huge concerns with both of those. So yeah, I want no part of that. Like, I literally want more part of that. People quickly forget how Bryce, behind a shaky offensive line, he currently doesn't have a starting LT. Hope Dan and Bram are cooking something up. Yeah, I mean, offensive line is going to be a real issue of need for the Panthers. Let's just be honest. Taylor Moton is entering the last year of his deal. Icky is probably not going to be back till later in the year. Somebody called me. Damian Lewis is probably the best person on that line. Robert Hunt didn't have a great year last year because of injuries. So, like, I think those are legitimate concerns. I genuinely think those are legitimate concerns. So, all right. Ross Tucker's talking about the Cowboys. What is he saying here?
I see all these reports about how close the Cowboys were. There is no close. It's kind of funny that the Cowboys want it out there that they're trying. Oh, we tried. You know, we gave up. We offered this for Max Crosby. Or we almost got into Kobe Dean. There is no close. Close does not exist. You either got the player or you didn't. Close is not a thing. I see all these reports about how close the Cowboys were.
It does kind of feel like Jerry is on a redemption tour where he's trying to convince everybody that he is not as bad as everybody is saying he is. I do understand Ross's point. It does kind of feel like he's on this redemption tour of trying to convince everybody that, you know, that he's good. So that, I mean, I don't think he's wrong in that. But yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. All right, let's go to YouTube and see what we got on YouTube. Let me share this real quick. There's about 25 of y'all on here, so I appreciate y'all being on here and hanging out today. What do we want to do? What do we want to do? What do we want to do? We already listened to Panthers post yesterday. I'm working on it. Hold on. Appreciate y'all staying patient.
Skyscanner searches billions of prices to find epic travel deals.
What is going on in here? No one knows how to onboard the new hires. We don't have SOP for submitting PTO, and nobody knows how to file expenses. Chill. I already used Scribe to audit.
Free agency frenzy. Looking for a big time target. It all starts right now. Who goes where?
Big play, Drake.
Shaheed in the end zone. Make it reappear like a magic trick. More Murray magic.
Big time play by Zero.
Let us not forget Ken Walker III.
Wow, Marshawn Lattimore, absolutely textbook on
Malik Willis doing it all.
Big catch by Big Mike.
Get to the money. Living good, living loud, living fabulous.
I tried a ton of AI work tools. Then I tried Monday.com. Game over.
Containment units tracking free agency as we have opened the negotiation window. We've had a lot of news come into this NFL LA newsroom. So before we have discussions with all, we just wanted you to be able to see them. Let's get all the news that's come into the newsroom here, starting with Tua Tagovailoa going to Atlanta. He's going to have the vast majority of his compensation in 2026 provided by the Dolphins. He will land there for the league minimum. Now,
when I saw Tua signing with the Falcons, I was like, this is peak Falcons behavior, right? And two, I guess like I think Stefanski is really, really good, but Stefanski must be looking at something. Like Stefanski must be looking at something that I'm just not aware of. Like I really don't understand. But I guess if it's a bridge quarterback situation, then maybe I can see it, but like I'm just not understanding it.
3 years removed from his Pro Bowl season as the starting quarterback for the Miami Dolphins. And new Dolphins head coach, speaking of the Dolphins, Jeff Hafley will be reunited with former Packers backup quarterback Malik Willis, Greg Rosenthal's top free agent of 2026.
I understand the Malik situation with Miami because John Sullivan, like there's a lot of connections there, right? Like you understand why Miami did something like that. But yeah, the Tua to Atlanta thing, maybe, I guess the only way you rationalize something like that is like maybe it's a bridge quarterback situation. You're just trying to have a competent QB. But like I'm not hopeful from a fantasy football perspective or from just a talent perspective. I'm not hopeful on Drake London being like good in that offense with Tua throwing to him. Like that's not something I get excited about.
3-year deal with $45 million guaranteed, could be worth up to $67.5 million. So the new shape taking place there in South Florida. And what will take some time to get used to, speaking of the state of Florida, Mike Evans' time as the Tampa Bay Buccaneer has come to an end for now signing a 3-year deal with the San Francisco 49ers. Not the biggest money wideout deal on the day, though, because we don't need jersey swaps or photoshops for Alec Pierce. He's going to stay in Indianapolis. The Colts came to an agreement on a 4-year deal with $60 million guaranteed for one of the league's top deep threats who got more usage elsewhere on the field last season and a breakout season for him, as well as the Colts offense. And that trend of him getting used more elsewhere might continue as the Colts' former top target, Michael Pittman Jr., was traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers, agreed to a 3-year deal after that trade. The trade was described as a late-round pit swap. So Michael Pittman Jr. going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And also, we've got a Super Bowl MVP. Well, no, more the Kansas City Chiefs news. 11-time Pro Bowler Travis Kelce and the Chiefs agreed to terms on a new deal.
Rebound and recover with the Planet Fitness Black Cord.
Join and get your first month free. Deal ends March 13th.
That thing won't fit in the nursery.
That thing is a collectible. You know, scientists say it's educational.
Oh, that's upside down. Remember, it can always come back.
Pods, storage that.
Alongside Ian Rappaport, Judy Batista, and Mike Garafolo, I am Tom Pelissero. To give you an idea of exactly how this day goes, literally in the time it took Patrick Claybon to recap the day's news, the Raiders have signed not one but 2 linebackers. The latest one just minutes ago, former Packers first-round draft pick Quay Walker has agreed to terms, according to me and Ian. That deal negotiated by Kyle McCarthy and Todd.
I thought it was hilarious that Panthers Twitter was not coping well when this came through. They were like, we're letting all these linebackers go to waste. What's going to happen? And I was like, this app's about to crash. This app's about to have a massive crash out if we don't get one of these linebackers.
France at Athletes First, a big deal coming for Quay Walker with the Raiders, who also added Nakobe Dean, the former Eagles linebacker here. We knew Las Vegas had a ton of resources, a ton of money to spend. they are investing in that linebacker group. We will continue on this 2-hour edition of The Insiders to bring you all of the news, all of the deals that get done in real time. But let's go back to something that we reported an hour or so ago. It is, as Patrick mentioned, Tua Tagovailoa headed to the Atlanta Falcons on a 1-year minimum contract. Why the minimum? Because the Dolphins owe Tua Tagovailoa $54 million fully guaranteed.
That's insane, fam. That's insane. Oh my gosh. I know that it's like a cap situation and it's business, but can you imagine like paying that much money to somebody that's not even playing for your team? I get it. It happens all the time, but that is a ridiculous amount of money that you have to. It's like the Russell Wilson situation in Denver a few years ago, right? Like, except Tua was never great.
That is subject to offsets, meaning that the Dolphins will pay him about 53, Ian, and it was all about nothing to do with money. It was about the best football spot for Tua. Atlanta always made sense. Why was that the Falcons guy?
Yeah, Atlanta was looking for the best lefty quarterback they could possibly find. No, they weren't. They did find one, though. The only free agent lefty quarterback out there, someone who could come in, get the first team reps while Michael Penix Jr. recovers from a torn ACL, someone with starting experience who has been at various times the franchise quarterback for the Miami Dolphins. In fact, was last year until he got replaced by Quinn Ewers, the promising young quarterback in Miami. So Tua can come in for basically no money, because remember, they're still paying $10 million to Kirk Cousins, still dealing with his cap hit, and come give that experience and the depth to the quarterback room that they have badly needed. If Michael Penix is ready for the season.
Oh my gosh, Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins should be investigated for how to actually make really good money in this league, because the amount of money that he has been able to accumulate by just being around. I mean, and look, there were times 3-4 years ago that we were potentially talking about Kirk Cousins being a very, very, very good quarterback. But yeah, that's wild. That's
no big deal. Tua can come in and potentially be the backup or compete, or we'll see. If he is not ready, Tua can come in and start. No big deal as well. This is about depth and strengthening the room, and the fact that Tua can get all those reps as he looks.
My thing that we're going to be on the lookout for, and Garoppolo kind of suggested at this week, is I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised at all if A.J. Brown gets moved this week. The Cowboys want a Quentin Williams kind of deal, and it would not be surprising to me at all if he gets moved. I'm just putting that out there. Would not surprise me at all if he gets moved. Okay, let's
to rebuild his resume. That helps as well.
You should get life insurance, because you never know. My dad has never been in better shape. Lost weight, exercising every day, and he had a stroke and passed away. But he did an incredible thing for my family. He had a life insurance policy.
Robust class of free agents. The biggest name quarterback entering the day was a guy who has 6 career starts over 4 seasons, 2 that did not go well with the Titans, and 2 that went amazingly well as a backup with the Green Bay Packers. Malik Willis, and we had said the 2 teams to watch were the Dolphins.
Chris Sims is such an interesting person to me. I'm sorry. Chris Sims, to me, is one of the funniest people, because you can tell he's like one of these dudes that probably would be very okay taking like a 10-minute cold bath to start his day. He's like, yeah, let's grind. And you know what? I appreciate it. Just like, he's just like, this is me. I'm sure he doesn't joke around a lot. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't have that many hobbies outside of football. But just hilarious stuff, man. Oh, just hilarious stuff.
And the Cardinals.
Yeah.
They're either going to go after him.
Right.
Or if they're not interested, stay away. Because they know him. They're in a position to know him. The Dolphins know him better than anyone other than the Packers. with the brain trust they had there now, John Eric Sullivan and Jeff Hafley. They were with him for 2 years. And that's why I kept seeing this limited sample size. Yeah, for everyone else. But for Sullivan and Hafley,
True.
they worked with the guy for 2 years.
I mean, it's a good point. I think Hafley and Sullivan literally saw Malik there. And if there's anybody, I mean, I do disagree with Florio and that, like, that limited sample size should not be an important part of this conversation, because he did do things in the limited sample size. But yeah, Florio, I feel like in a lot of ways, Florio and Sims were made for one another because they're both so intense in their own ways. And then they're both sassy. And when Florio gets sassy, like this whole thing with Adam Schefter a couple days ago, it's just hilarious to me.
They lived with the guy for 2 years. They saw him in meetings and how he conducts himself for 2 years. They saw him on the practice field for 2 years. They traveled with him for 2 years. That's enough time. Think about all the darts that are going to be thrown next month in Pittsburgh for the draft with guys that you're relying upon trying to get information from people who were with a guy.
Yeah.
You were there.
Yes.
You
saw it
there.
daily, right? Like you saw game evidence. You saw Jeff Hafley, you're the defensive coach. You saw him on scout team every day going, man, my defense can't stop this freaking guy on the scout team every day. So you're exactly right. They got the inside info. And they know how he operates, they know the person, and we know that when it's a new regime, those are the things that make a new regime feel comfortable and cozy. Wait, a guy that knows us, knows how we operate, can help us in the locker room and be an ally and make sure that everybody kind of knows how we operate and help out that way. And we know the kid's got talent, and he does. And like, Mike, to your point, you're exactly right. Like, first off, you got to take a chance at some point. I mean, you got to take a chance. Okay. So you took a chance on a guy who is a phenomenal athlete, who's really grown as a quarterback. If you watch the 6 damn games, you go, does he ever miss a throw or not throw an impressive throw? That's what you look at. I mean, it was efficient beyond efficient. And then on top of that, elite playmaking ability. So, yeah.
I mean, I think the thing with Malik is he's made for the modern NFL. Right? Like Malik Willis is made for the modern NFL. That's just what it is. You want guys that are able to run, to scramble, and even if there's nobody down the field, he can. So, like, I'm okay with Malik in this deal, especially because of the connection with Green Bay. I get it.
To give a guy like this a deal for sure, and you got the inside track on him and know how he looks, and I'm sick of like the small sample size. Well, okay, let me give an opposite here. Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield had a big sample size of crap, or they was just crap, but we were okay with that. And look what happened. Whoa, Sam Darnold, what a sample size! Crap. Oh, he gets with the Vikings, it's pretty good, and then he gets to the Seahawks and he's.
I'm not even going to say anything about that.
It's a Super Bowl. I mean, so yeah, things happen. Guys grow. They get in better situations. They learn how to play the game, and I think we saw that Malik Willis. Cool. I'm really happy for him to get his opportunity down there in Miami, and we'll see what he's got here.
I do feel if we're thinking about how this compares to just Florio talking about it, I think I would be much happier giving a deal like the Justin Fields deal that the Jets gave. I'd be much happy with the Malik Willis contract than I would with the Justin Fields contract. But we'll see. I mean, time will tell. Defenses are really smart. For those of us who watched the Super Bowl, which almost all of us did, we see what happens with modern NFL defenses and how good they are at adjusting. So I think over the course of the season, they'll adjust. But let's listen to Cody. Cody, to me, is one of the best draft analysts, and I want to see what he has to say in terms of how this changes the draft. Oh.
Drive for every quarterback in the class, access to an insider.
Normally I have been in like final exam mode because I'm trying to reprogram my draft guide to run fast before the draft actually starts. Should have that done in a couple of days. But yeah, I've just been like listening to the Athletic Football Show and programming all day.
Love it. I love it. So our idea here for this podcast is to Rick Stokes
bounce back season, then really like
that would be amazing if you just want to build the whole plan.
Like every other team, edge and receiver and quarterback end up being their needs. So
1 year for $10.5 million, bring back Demario Davis, 2 years, $22 million there. And then they trade for Minkah Fitzpatrick as well. And then extend him for 3.
I do feel like what the Athletic did, where they had like the 5 hours of the show was insane. I mean, Robert Mays was, and I'm going to have to actually work this time. Yeah, I was off yesterday, so I won't be able to stream, but like the fact that they were just able to just give us so much coverage was incredible. They had so many guests. They had like Jordan Rodriguez. They had like a bunch of people. So that was crazy.
3 years, $40 million. So there are
elite 3 techniques, top tier receivers in free agency usually.
Agreed.
But this is like, that's what you kind of got to do in that situation is attack around the edges. So then you can go and attack, those positions in the draft and you aren't like, pick 30, like, oh, we need a tight end or whatever, wasting around. I think if they can just go like 3.
I don't think I want to watch these guys right now. I love these guys, but I don't know that I want to watch these guys right now. Because it feels a little more niche. And I haven't been able to listen to it to see what I want y'all to listen to. So let's go to let's go over here and see what we got. Free agency reactions. Jeremiah Loves updated. Todd McShay. I have a real issue with Todd. I know that he's somebody that is very knowledgeable, but like Todd also was saying things like y'all shouldn't draft Tetero McMillan last year. So like and Tetero was rookie of the year. So I'm just like, I'm a little hesitant when I see Josh pop up on the timeline. Just saying. Okay. Panthers came out with an article, so let's read it. Even if the Panthers didn't do another thing and they're going to do other things, Monday was a good day. And only part of that is about, oh, y'all aren't seeing this. Share this tab instead. Let me see if that works. The Panthers reportedly reached deals on Monday with Eagles pass rusher Jalen Phillips, Jaguars all-pro linebacker Devin Lloyd. Checking the 2 biggest boxes of the season. Those are big swings involving big dollars, but they also represent premium players in positions of need. I mean, I don't know that linebacker's a position of need, but I don't know that linebacker's a premium position, but I see what they're saying. The Panthers are tied for 28th in the league with 30 sacks, so adding the top young players in the market is an obvious boost. But what Lloyd could reportedly add might just be significant. The Panthers are known for one thing in franchise history. It's having the guy at linebacker, the guy who means more. Sam Mills, Luke Kuechly. Sorry, guys. It's 6:59 over here on the West Coast. I'm still waking up. To a litany of guys in between, including Michael Burrow, Dan Morgan, John Beeson. They've enjoyed the kind of talent and leadership that can drive a team. And now Lloyd joins the club coming off an all-pro season in which he had 5 interceptions. The Panthers only have 2 picks by linebackers in the last 2 seasons combined. Oh, my God. That's crazy. That's crazy. They only have 2 picks by linebackers in the last 2 years. That's crazy. Those were 2 bold moves. And the fact that Morgan, the one making them along with executive president of football operations, Brandon Tillis, I want y'all to be prepared. If we have another draft like we do last year, Brandon Tillis is gone. Like, Brandon Tillis is not going to be around. I'm just telling y'all. The Falcons tried to also they could not be more opposite in body shapes. Like, Dan Morgan's like, I'm a dog. I work out at 4:30. Did y'all see that Pat McAfee interview where he worked out at 4:30? And then Brandon Tillis is like, what's up, fam? Just hanging out over here. Ooh, I think I have an underdog notification. Hold on. Do we have news? Do we have breaking news? The Packers are releasing Nate Hobbs. Oh, okay. I think myself and Brant and Coach Canales, we're always talking about the roster and ways to get better, and we have to stay smart and disciplined. But again, that doesn't mean we're not going to be aggressive. And they certainly were on Monday, setting the edge for a busy week to come. But if you look around the NFC South, there were things happening that won't cause anyone at Bank of America to shed a tear. The news. That is a hilarious line. Oh my gosh. That is really funny. If you look around the NFC South, there were things happening that won't cause anyone to bang. The news that Buccaneers receiver Mike Evans was agreeing to a deal with San Francisco was frankly shocking. Mike Evans represents an era. Well, it wasn't that shocking, to be fair. Like, we knew there were reports that he wanted to be gone. Mike Evans represents an area of Tampa Bay, and in particular of sticking to the Panthers. Literally no one has done more against them. He owns the record for most receptions, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns. I mean, yeah, like he has been a menace. He has been an absolute menace. Like an absolute menace against us. So like that has not been fun. In 23 games against the Panther, he's caught 125 passes, 1,060 yards, and 15 touchdowns. That's 6 more catches than Roddy White, 223 more yards than Julio, and 5 more touchdowns than Jimmy Graham. That's nuts. He single-handedly ended the wild 2022 playoff push by catching 10 passes for 207 and 3 touchdowns. Panthers social media team is kind of triggering me today. I didn't need to be reminded of that. We already knew that. Evans' streak of 1,000-yard seasons ended this year because of injuries, but longtime Panthers long snapper J.D. Jansen has joked that he's seen my graphic on the Raymond James Stadium scoreboard when he crosses the threshold so many times it feels like it's part of his life, and it was. The Bucs still have good players, and they made smart decisions on Mondays, but losing fixtures like Evans and cornerback Jamil Dean will require a bit of adjustment. The same is true of the Saints. They were extreme. I mean, I think I said this. I think the Saints had a phenomenal day. I can't remember the guard they got, but like the guard they got is really good. There's several people that are really good. Demario Davis heading back to the Jets and cornerback Alontae Taylor joining the migration to Tennessee. A couple of longtime Panthers tormentors are gone. Davis has played Panthers 18 times with 114 tackles, 7.5 sacks, 12 quarterback hits, and 8 tackles for loss. That's crazy. Taylor has been a more acute pain for a short amount of time. He's only played the Panthers 7 times, but he sacked Bryce Young 3 times in the 2024 opener and picked off. Again, it's one day, the first of the negotiating period, and none of these deals can even become official until Wednesday. But for the Panthers, it was a good day for a lot of reasons. That was good. That was good. Oh.
I see it. I think we all know why it is. Young Fielding, what do you think it is? If there's a little extra smile on the face of Mel Kiper this morning, and I think I see it. I think we all know why it is. Young Fielding, what do you think it is that has Mel so tickled this morning?
Well, Green, let me set the scene for you. On Friday night, I had just finished watching the return of Jason Tatum to NBA action. What a great story that is, and he looked impressive. And I was winding down for the evening, and all of a sudden on my phone, I noticed, maybe 9:30 or so, that Adam Schefter had some gigantic breaking news, which was that the Raiders had decided to trade Max Crosby to the Baltimore Ravens in exchange for 2 first-round picks this year, number 14 overall, plus a 2027 first-round pick. After digesting the trade a little bit myself and offering some reaction on social media, I thought, what on earth does Mel think about this trade himself? Mel, of course, his deep ties in Baltimore, his affinity for the Ravens. And then I realized, Greeny, that 15, 20 minutes after that news had broken, when the rest of the world had already digested it and thought about it and analyzed and opined on it, Mel probably has no idea it's actually taking place. So I called Mel a little after 9:30 on Friday night, perhaps a bit late to be calling somebody, but I was encouraged by his son-in-law that Mel does stay up very late. So 9:30 is just kind of the beginning of the evening there. And Mel picked up. He saw my number on the phone.
I really like Field Yates, and I think if they're trying to, because I feel like what ESPN is trying to do is they're trying to make Field Yates into what Todd McShay was. Like there was this banter back and forth, but it just feels like Field Yates and Kiper just get along so much better. So much better. That's funny.
On the ID and said, Fielding, how are you? I said, Mel, I'm probably not as good as you. How are you? And he says, oh, I'm doing great. Kim and I are sitting here watching the latest episode of Traitors. I said, Mel, do you have any idea what's just taken place? And he said, I got no clue. And I broke the news to him. And that, my friends, was one of the great joys of my professional career.
Let me just explain for a second. The Traitors finale had happened prior to Friday night. Kim had seen it with Lauren and Alex and Blakely and everybody. I didn't see it. I was busy doing it. So I'm going to watch it at the right time. Friday night was the perfect time, right? I'm getting near the end, the crucial moments. I see Fields' name come up on the phone. I got to think something's not right here. I got to check and see how Fields okay. Why would he be calling me late on a Friday night? Who would have thought the Ravens made this blockbuster deal?
That is low key one of the funniest things that I've ever seen. Yeah, that's very, very funny. I had to tweet that out. That is legitimately funny. Oh. I don't know if y'all saw this by Field Yates, but I agree. And he essentially said, let me see if I can find it. He essentially said here, the Panthers have landed who are, in my opinion, the best off-ball linebacker and the best rusher in the free agency class. Huge day for Carolina. The other thing that was interesting is Seth, what's his name? Oh, there's a new article by Bill Barnwell too. But let me see if I can find the stuff. So let me share this tab. This is Seth Walder from ESPN, and essentially was grading every, they're essentially grading all the free agency transactions from yesterday. And he gave, so we'll get to the Panther signings and then we'll talk about everybody else. He gave Devin Lloyd a B-. And let's just kind of read it. So the Panthers are feeling their need an inside linebacker with a top-ranked player at the position. Lloyd is coming off a great season in which he made the Pro Bowl and was second-team All-Pro. His run-stop rate ranked in the 50th percentile, but the real reason he's getting paid is because of the splash plays. 5 interceptions, 7 passes, 16 pressures, 1.5 sacks, and 6 tackles for loss. Those are impressive numbers, but I went into free agency thinking I'd be down on Lloyd relative to market. A year ago, the Jaguars declined Lloyd's 5th-year option, which seemed like an important data point, even with big plays he made in contract year. Second, Lloyd wasn't an every down player in Jacksonville last season. He played on just 73% of snaps, including 54% on 3rd and 4th downs. That last part is absolutely worrying. If the Jazz were willing to keep him off the field, can he really be worth $50 million? Here's my thoughts on this. He's not the first player. He's not the first one that said this. There were multiple insiders that were talking about this. Daniel Jeremiah made a similar comment as well. And essentially what and by the way, Daniel Jeremiah is great. I like Daniel Jeremiah. I don't think Daniel Jeremiah meant anything ill by it. But essentially what they were saying is that Lloyd improved from a scheme perspective, that the Jaguars didn't extend him to a 5th-year option when they had the option to. So, I mean, I understand the frustration. I still think $15 million per year for Lloyd is phenomenal. I was thinking that it was going to have to be an overspend of $20 million. So the fact that it was just $15 million to me, I'll take that all day. Like I genuinely have no problem with that. I have no problem with that. So that being said, the steal came than I thought it would. Yeah. And Seth even says that, right? At a higher price point, I'd be much more critical. But at $15 million per year, the same amount, even without any adjustment. So, yeah, I think it's fine. I think if it, look, multiple people, Nate Tice also said something similar about it too, saying, hey, buyer beware on Lloyd. But I just don't think $15 million a year for the best linebacker is that much of an overpay. I don't. I think that is a fine, to me, that is a fine thing. Like it is more than okay. That's how I feel about it. So then the other one was Phillips. So 4 years, $120 million, and essentially the same thing. The Panthers needed edge help and decided to pay up and get it. They landed Phillips to improve a unit that ranked 24th in pass rush win rate and 32nd in run stop win rate last season. Yeah, our D-line was terrible. Thank you for reminding us that. Phillips could be an asset in both areas. The former Dolphin and Eagle has never had a double-digit sack, but clearly makes an impact as an edge rusher. Injuries derailed his career in Miami, torn Achilles in 2023 and a partially torn ACL in 2024 set him back, but he was effective again last season between Miami and Philadelphia. Phillips ranked in the 92nd percentile in pressure rate and 57% in pass rush win rate. At 27 years old, the Panthers are getting Phillips in the prime of his career, and he fills a major need. Nick Scorton showed promise as a rookie. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's accurate. Why are the Chiefs? Why is he giving a C+ to the Chiefs for Kenneth Walker? The Chiefs got the running back after getting lackluster play at the position. Kansas City opted to sign top free agent running back, also happens to be a Super Bowl MVP. And Walker, the Chiefs gained explosive upside on every run that they simply did not have, even though he was sharing the workload with Zach Charbonnet. Walker had the 6th most in the regular season. He clearly feels the need for Kansas City. I do think there are some drawbacks. First, the regular season numbers were good, but not exceptional, and I'm wary of over-indexing on the playoffs. Second, while Walker's ability as a runner is not questioned, that's not the job of a back. And the Seahawks made the press conference for Charbonnet on passing downs quite clear. Walker was on the field only 20% of third and longs in the regular season. I mean, I understand what he's saying there, but I think that has more to do with Seattle's insistence on having a committee. Like, I don't really think that has to do with, I mean, I feel like from a fantasy football perspective and from just a football and analytics perspective, it's a huge get for them. The 14.3 million average per year puts him right in between Josh Jacobs and Saquon Barkley. So I don't know. I think I'm fine with that. Did he give anybody an A? Oh, that's right. Did y'all see this? Where like Rashawn Gary was going to be like, peace out, everybody. And then he ended up giving them a deal. And oh my God, I don't understand. Sometimes I just don't understand. Like, why do you? Sometimes Jerry Jones just does things, and I'm like, bro, what are you doing over here? Yeah, Packers grade A to get a 4th rounder. That's crazy. I'm trying to see if, he's given the Raiders an A because they get more draft picks for that. Bradbury from the Patriots. What else? Bills land more from the Bears. Bears grade. Yeah, they got an A for that. A- for McDuffie. A-. Yeah. McDuffie getting that deal was big. Like, that's a huge deal that he got. So, okay. We can go back to YouTube here in a second, but I do want to see what Bill Barnwell says. What's he going to say about Phillips? So Barnwell says, wow, I've been a huge fan of Phillips' game when he was healthy enough to step on the field. I thought he was on the verge of a breakout after his second season in the league, when the 2021 first-round pick managed 7 sacks and 25 knockdowns for the Dolphins. Sadly, Phillips' career was derailed for the second time by injuries. He was able to make it back for a full campaign in 2025, and although his 5 sacks don't hint at a spectacular performance, advanced metrics and a closer look on tape suggest Phillips was excellent. He generated quick pressure on 5.3% of his pass rush reps, the 12th highest among rushers with 300 attempts or more that season. He was 7th in total pressure rate, routinely able to bend around tackles and beat guards. The problem was Phillips wasn't able to finish. He turned 7. I mean, this is, and Panthers culture was talking about this too. This is, I think, a legitimate concern with Phillips, where he gets a lot of pressures, but he doesn't turn those into sacks. Like, I think that that's a fair, like, I'm not a homer to the point where I'm just like, anybody that says this is, no, like, I think that that's a fair concern. He generated quick pressures. Oh, we already read that. He turned 7.9 of his pressures into sacks, one of the worst rates in the league. The final step from pressure to sack can be fluky and fluctuate. And between 2022 to 2024, Phillips' pressure to sack percentage was 12.9%, which was closer to the league average. With his typical sack ratio, Phillips would have produced 8 sacks, which would have ended closer to his actual level of production on a snap-to-snap basis. That's good news for the Panthers, who are paying Phillips based on his pressure rate as opposed to sack total. I wondered whether teams would be nervous about paying a player with Phillips' injury history and free agency, but with a lack of other options available and Phillips coming off his best season as a pro, the Panthers did not blink. Where else? That's my stomach because I'm hungry. They signed Phillips. I really like Phillips, but it's just incredibly difficult to make a case that he's truly a $30 million per year player. He has never made the Pro Bowl or managed even 9 sacks in a season. He missed 22 games over his 5 seasons. I think Phillips has upside if he can stay healthy, but anything less than top tier production would make this deal a mess for the Panthers. It certainly feels like the Panthers are reacting to what happened last year when they were close to signing. Oh no. Hold on, y'all. My mouse just stopped working. What the hell? Oh no. Well, now I need to find my. Well, this isn't good. My mouse literally stopped working. So give me a second. Oh no, this is a mess. Oh, here we go. Found the cable for it. We're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. Let me hook up this mouse. It certainly feels like the Panthers are reacting to what happened last year when they were close to signing a star defensive tackle and Milton Williams, only for him to sign with the Patriots. Williams eventually landed a 4-year, $104 million deal in New England and played at a Pro Bowl level when healthy. The Panthers settled for Wharton, for a guy that's been playing a 1-year, $2.7 million over the Chiefs. Wharton had 2 sacks and 3 knockdowns, 9 games. Wharton and Derek Brown are entrenched in the middle for the Panthers, which makes Phillips fit even more tenuous. The Dolphins had a lot of success lining Phillips up against interior linemen on passing downs. Well, I honestly think that even works better for the Panthers. Give me 1 second. I got to plug this in. I think that even works better for the Panthers because if we know anything about how Evero likes to run his defense. He likes doing a lot of stunts. He likes moving things around. So like it doesn't really surprise me. But there's an argument that it's better to overpay to get your guy and get the best player. And when you consider his age, taking a shot on a 26-year-old in his prime might have been more appealing than going after, say, Trey Hendrickson. So, yeah, I understand why the ESPN guys have concerns. Like, I'm not like, oh, that's dumb, right? Like, I'm not to the point where I'm saying that's bad. Jared's saying, I've seen some rumors about Devin Lloyd regarding his character or injury concerns. He has played at least 15 games in each season of his career and seems to be a stand-up person in Jacksonville. Not sure where those rumors are coming from. I'm in a group chat with some of my friends from school where one is a Duke fan and one's a Carolina fan. And it's always really funny because they just talk crap to each other about, and I got to send them this news about Caleb Foster. But anyways, very, very, very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. All right, let's see what the
suggest that Aaron Rodgers, all the tea leaves and do all of the dots that you connect in your head suggest that Aaron Rodgers is going back to Steelers.
Well, here's what I would say, Greeny. I think that they want him to return. They've been open about wanting him to return. Everybody on the team, the players, has wanted him back. But the fact of the matter is it's got to come from Rodgers. It hasn't. So let's just for a moment operate in a universe in which he decides that he doesn't want to come back. And I think that they're hopeful and optimistic that he will come back. But if he doesn't, I think that where they go from there, people won't love this, but I think that they believe that they have a quarterback prospect in Will Howard. Now, it's hard to bank your whole season on a quarterback we haven't seen play in the regular season, but they believe that they have something in Will Howard, and they believe Mike McCarthy's strength is developing good, young, smart quarterback. I'm just telling you what they think.
Yeah.
Okay. And that doesn't mean they wouldn't. It doesn't mean they wouldn't add another quarterback, but they're hoping Rodgers comes back, and if he doesn't, they would then be prepared to have Will Howard and Mason Rudolph on the roster. They obviously would have to add somebody else, but it's the reason that I think they don't feel rushed and compelled to go out and add anybody right now.
Yeah, I don't understand the Steelers plan. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Does not make a whole lot of sense to me. What is Josh saying here? Josh is saying Aaron Brewer might be the most underpaid player in football. Gonna be honest, guys, I don't know enough about the guard market to be able to speak on that. Also, the Packers letting go of Nate Hobbs just 1 year after signing a 4-year, $48 million contract. That feels important. That feels important. Dan Orlovsky saying Jeremiah Love at 4. I think Jeremiah Love really might go at 4. Like it would not surprise me at all if that's what happens. So Oh, this is interesting from Edgar. Edgar's got so many good nuggets on stuff. A recent article by Dan Graziano and Ben Solak listed the Panthers as a potential fit for Nate Hobbs if he were traded. Now the slot corner is available in the open market. That's pretty interesting. That's pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. I mean, I just don't know that we could take that contract. Like, that's my only concern, right? Like, I don't know that we can. That would be a pretty big contract to take, I guess is what I'm saying. Oh, maybe we'll do a little call-in tomorrow, or even tonight. I might hop on tonight and do that. So, but anyways, I think it's going to be really interesting to just see what happens.
All of it, and we're not even close to being done. Ladies and gentlemen, raise your glasses, stand up and applaud for our insiders, Ian Rappaport and Tom Pelissero.
We're applauding you for that read. That was great.
Thank you.
Crushed it.
There's more.
Thank you very much. Actually,
the best part is I memorized it. I didn't even read it. I memorized it all night, guys, and it was the work of you two and so many others. Shout out Mike Garafolo as well. Guys, quarterbacks, they lead the day. Let's just keep it going. Let's keep it going. Yeah. Tua has a new home. Malik Willis got paid. Ian, start us off. Tell us everything we need to know. I want to hear from you too, Tom.
Well, let's talk about the Tua situation. He is expected to sign with the Atlanta Falcons, and we've talked about big contract numbers all day yesterday. We're going to do it today as well. That's not what this is about. The Miami Dolphins are paying Tua a huge contract number, $54 million. Actually, now it's $52 million.
Backup quarterback as effective first, a nearly 100.
But we're already more than 30 years back. This is how unique it is. It's fluid, though. We're working on it. It brings us to the Cardinals, Ian, because if somebody is sitting at home being like, wait a second, why isn't Kyler Murray on a team? Why didn't he jump on a team? Explain why, please, to everybody, and then tell us what the market is right now as we sit here on Tuesday morning.
So let's get into the Kyler situation because the mechanics are a little different. Yesterday, the Miami Dolphins took to the Twitter machine, and I assume other forms of social media, and officially said goodbye to Tua Tagovailoa, making it public that they were moving on from him. That basically means that teams are now allowed to talk to him. He is being treated like a free agent even if he isn't officially released on the wire or whatever it is, he is basically free. That is not the case with Kyler Murray. He has not been announced as a free agent by the Arizona Cardinals, despite the fact that he took to the Twitter machine and said goodbye himself. So that means teams that are interested, Tom, including the Minnesota Vikings, so I think it's fair to say, as we've been reporting, are a favorite here to sign Tua Tagovailoa. To sign Kyler Murray, other quarterback. They have not yet been able to speak with him. I expect that to ramp up tomorrow when his release is official. But until and unless the Arizona Cardinals go public with their plans to say goodbye to Kyler Murray, he is stuck in a little bit of a limbo situation. And you and I can spend 24 hours or more kind of just talking around it.
Geno Smith also has not actually been announced as a release by the Raiders, though we are fully anticipating that is what takes place. The reason these guys have not been released yet, among others around the league, is you're not allowed to release a player who has fully guaranteed money on his contract until the new league year begins, which is 4 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesday. I know it feels like free agency already happened. Technically, we've still got, 31 hours until the new league year begins. So after 4 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow, you'll see.
I'm going to be really interested. Here's here's what I'm predicting in terms of Trey Hendrickson. I don't think Trey's going to get a deal. I think Trey is going to try to essentially continue to extend this as long as he can for that price to go up. But he's not. I think Jaden Phillips getting $30 million per year is really shocked the system, because it changes everything now. Like, it literally changes everything in terms of what they're going to do.
Geno, Kyler, Kirk Cousins, Bradley Chubb, Stephon Diggs, a bunch of those players who are all going to hit the market, which also allows teams more flexibility in terms of managing the cap hit. For Kyler Murray, though, don't expect that it's quite like Tua, where at 401 he's released and at 405 he's got a new team. Kyler Murray has not had a chance to interface with very many teams since he was back in the pre-draft process in 2019. He has never been a free agent. He is, by all accounts, from the people who know him, a much different person than he was 7 years ago. And given the fact that Kyler, like Tua, is going to take a one-year minimum contract because he's due all that fully guaranteed money, it's subject to offset, so he's not allowed to make any more than the $36.8 million that he is fully guaranteed. It makes sense for him to, in essence, preview the 2027 free agent process when Kyler is going to be right back out there. So I would anticipate, and if I'm his agent, I'm probably saying, all right, let's hear multiple pitches. Anybody who wants to talk to Kyler, who might have a need now or a need next year, let's at least get a little bit of time on the phone, on a Zoom, whatever it might be, and just spend a little bit of time with Kyler. He will fully evaluate his options. Certainly, I anticipate there will be mutual interest between.
I just don't. I mean, I'm kind of with Tom here. Like, I don't. If you're Kyler, where else would you want to go outside of Minnesota? What other team outside of the Vikings would make sense to go to? I don't think there's a team outside of those that makes sense. But who knows? I don't know, man. Like, he might be getting in. I mean, maybe the Jets, but like, why would you want to go to the Jets in that situation? I think if you want to win, you've got to go to like a situation like that. I don't know. Those are just my thoughts on that. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see. All right, guys. I think that's going to be all for today. We had a really good stream. Tomorrow I'll come back on the same time. I'll probably go a little longer tomorrow. I'll do a couple hours today. I'm just doing an hour and a half. But yeah, thanks for coming. I'm going to try to hop on the same time every day, Monday through Thursday. I know on Fridays I can't do this time because I've got work. I start work earlier, but I'm going to try to Monday through Thursday. I'm going to try to do around the same time. Okay. All right. We'll talk soon. See you guys.